So if you've got a team that buy things and then obviously need to be reimbursed for that, you can use the expenses module. It is an additional cost and it's charged per user per month, and it can be added to your subscription. If I go into Tesco, if you click on subscription and billing, it will take you to your billing, and you can put on there, you can follow the steps through to add expenses on. You just add expenses on and Xero will automatically see how many users you've got and they'll bill you for the user that month. I believe at the time of going recording anyway, it was based on active users in a month. So if you've got it set up for all your team but only 2 of them use it in a month, then you'd only get charged for 2 in a month. But yeah, I can't show you because mine will look very different to yours. So but if you click on here and follow the steps, then it's quite easy to follow and set that up for your team. So we looked at the expenses settings previously. So to do an expense claim, if you go to business and expense claim, you can also do this on the mobile app, which is a separate section of this course. So go and have a look at that to do it on the mobile app. So if your team are setting up an expense claim, they would have access to Xero. Again, depending on what level you've given them, depends on what they can see, but they will actually be able to see their own expenses. Pop in new expense claim, and you can do expense claim or mileage. So let's do the mileage first. You can upload, but you're not really guaranteed with an expense claim, but you can pop in here how many miles. So say 100 miles at 45p. Oops, 0.45. Side visit to Bayside. You can put the travel date. Now, before when we set up the expenses, you could select which ones you want. So you just want to put in one of these 2 for it. And when you set it up, you would make sure that you take out all the other bits. So it's just the travel. And then you can put in all the different bits as well. So you can put the region in, still do all the tracking. You can assign it to a project or a customer. So if you're going to be rebilling this on, again, you can put it as the customer in here. It will then add it all up, and you can save it as a draft or you can submit it to the approver. Now, if it's your team, they're going to be submitting it to you to approve. So click on submit. And then what you've got here is you can see the workflow. So you're not going to have this for yourself, which is fine. So you wouldn't necessarily see all of yours, but your team would see theirs in your own section. So yours would just be blank. You then go to review. This is where you can review other people's. So if we come into here, you can see we've got a couple here that failed to approve. So you need to review them and see why and move them on. But then you've also got the other ones here. So you can see you've got that mileage one that we've just done there. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to quickly do another expense claim just so you can see the difference. So here you would upload a receipt. You'd put in the amount. What was it for? So hotel. And if they're using a company credit card, then they can put it on here and they'd put it as its company money, non-reimbursable, which means you then match it up to the item when it comes out of the bank account. If they're using it to their own money, then it'd be reimbursable. Then you can pop in all the details. So travel lodge. Pop in what it was for. So we're going to go for travel again. And then you can fill all the rest of it in. And it'll automatically do the VAT. Now, again, you can only claim the VAT if you've got a VAT receipt. So if they haven't got the receipt for it, they can't claim the VAT. So again, we'll submit that as well. So if you come into the 2 review, you can see the 2 here that we've done. So we're just going to look into it. I'm going to look here and I'm going to say, yep, we're happy with that one and approve it. Or if they've not actually put the right account in, you can edit it at this point and you can change the account. So you just take that off and then choose the other one. So save. And then you know you're happy with that one, so you can just click on approve. You can also edit, approve and decline here. So let's just approve. And again, this one, we're just going to look at this. We're not happy with this because there's no receipt, so we can't claim the VAT. So we're going to decline it. And you can add a little note to say why. And if your company policy is everything's got to have a receipt, then there you go. You can, if you're happy, just do approval. I don't want to check them all first. And then these ones that have failed to review, you can come in and see what's gone wrong. Failed to approve. That out the way. Not quite sure why, but it has actually gone through now and it says approved there, so that's all okay. Once they're approved, you can then come in to pay. And what you can see is you've got the ones that are ready to pay, and then you can make that payment. So you can put pay all. If you're using the Xero payments, you may be able to make this as a payment if you've got their details, but it will just pop it into a bill for you as the expense claim for that person. And then you can come into here as you would any other bill. So you can make a payment for it through here if you've got it set up, or you can make the payment through the bank, mark it as paid, just literally like a normal bill. You can also go back to expenses, you can come back and see it as well. So you've still got that interaction there, so you can see the two. And then in here, you've got all of them. So you can see all the different ones and the status they're at. And then in Explorer, it just shows you a little bit about the two, what codes they go into and things like that. So that's probably for a little bit of information. You can change that by account or by employees, so you can see which employees are submitted. So that's the expenses. Click over here, it will take you back to those expense claim settings. Click here to come back to expenses.